Recording.
Okay. Thank you for joining me tonight. In the past centuries, we have seen our nation go through the fastest periods of industrialization in all history. This period brought with it many technological advances and the increases in the quality of life, but also came with the darker side. Farms slowly changed from family-run operations to large industrialized animal factory farms. We see where quality and ethics were traded for progress and profit. Food production is now consolidated to increase the profit at any cost. What used to be small family-run farms has become a corporate setting that produces sickly abused animals by unethical conditions and that the animals are exposed to. These conditions that the factory animals are exposed to are very unsanitary, and during the time that these animals live within the farms, the large number of them become sick and receive no treatment. Chickens are confined in the worst sanitary conditions in which most of them contract infectious diseases and even cancers. The high temperatures of most of all the birds are raised in cause heat prostration. And according to Drover's Journal, it is reported that shipping fever costs livestock producers as much as $1 billion per year. That's a lot of animals that die each year just being shipped. Many of the factory animals are victims of cruel management styles. The debeaking of chickens is a normal practice and typically on the broiler chickens, because the chickens are crammed in crowded buildings with thousands of others. Cattle are subjected to painful process of dehorning. Only the calves receive anesthesia during this process, while the others, cattle, suffer through the pain. These are just a couple of examples to help you get an idea of what these animals go through before they wind up on our plates. Imagine if these farms were banned, we can enjoy a better quality of meats. Now that we have covered some of the treatments and conditions of the animals, and let's take a look at the environmental effects. The amount of waste that the farms collectively create causes lasting ecological hazards and high toxic levels around the surrounding areas. The creation and disposal of animal waste is causing devastating effects on our air, water, and soil. The unmanageable amounts of waste are not treated like human waste. Animal waste has many contaminants, like heavy metals and chemicals, like synthetic growth hormones and antibiotics. Imagine that hogs produce 17 pounds of waste per day. Times that by thousands. That's a lot of waste. It was reported by the United Nations that the livestock business generates more greenhouse gases than all transportation combined. The surrounding communities are innocent victims that pay the price for pollutants and toxins released into their areas. According to the National Resource Defense Council, there are so many reports of entire city water systems being contaminated by various chemicals and bacteria that people are getting deathly ill and even die. Also, the National Defense Council has recognized the gases affecting communities and numerous side effects and illnesses. Other organizations have linked increases in diseases, cancers, and countless disorders on certain towns in the midst of factory farms. These are just some of the reported issues on environmental effects on factory farms. Could we say we are contributing to this toxic business that's affecting thousands of people's lives? Besides the environmental issues, there are many questions and concerns about the effects on human health. Factory farms use high doses of steroids, antibiotics, and growth hormones, which passes through into the consumer. And studies have shown that it can affect human health. The U.S. cattle are injected with 6 different types of synthetic growth hormones. The European Union has banned these growth hormones in the 1980s, which has caused the Union to summons a committee to study the potential effects on human health. The findings were this: the residue in the meats were passed to humans. The residues in meats can disrupt human hormonal balance. The imbalances have shown to cause reproductive issues, colon and prostate cancers, according to the Food and Water Watch Board. There is also genetically engineered hormone, which is called RGBH, which is used for milk production. This hormone has been banned in Canada, Australia, Japan, and all of the European Union. There has been no data collected yet on the effects, but RBGH is injected in 30% of all the cows in the United States. Antibiotics. They are passed on to the consumer and has been linked in the growth of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Bacteria and pathogens that were non-existent and easily controlled have become difficult to control and has become a growing problem globally. A good example is the MSRA pathogen, which falls under an antibiotic-resistant bacteria. And over the past 30 years, it has killed more people than the AIDS virus. Antibiotics were probably one of the greatest achievements in the field of medicine, and we have basically undone the great achievements thanks to the factory farming industry. Simply, it is easy to see the risks. What are governments doing to help with these increasing problems? We look at the government regulations. It becomes very hard for the individual agency to complete their tasks, for the reason that the U.S. has three, the FDA, the EPA, and the USDA, that all try to work together, but it seems this is not the case. The EPA has revised a new Clean Water Act, and according to SustainableTable.org, their ability to regulate this act is weak and not effective. We see many state governments regulating the growth of factory farms, but this is not enough to make a difference. The federal government has not raised a finger or made any attempts to regulate or enforce the use of antibiotics and growth hormones, but has currently enacted a gag law, which protects factory farms from being exposed by investigative journalists and advocates which criminalize their attempts to release the truth. The motto seems to be, the less we know, the better. Currently, we are in dire need of change, a new set of regulations, and to start to promote traditional farming that lies in our surrounding areas. In conclusion, factory farming is a product of a nation focused on mass production and a fiscal bottom line. Human health, the environment, and the standard of living of animals has become a sacrifice for the speed and progress. The conditions are terrible in which these animals are exposed, and we need to understand that change will only come in response to consumer demand. This issue has become a slippery slope and has gotten way out of hand. And if we don't try to do something, what kind of future can we look forward to? What kind of future will we leave our children, our grandchildren? We need to stand up and say this is not all right. Thank you.
You got like,
Yeah, we're done.
done.